They should have put Lestat's abusive, annoying ass in the furnace. The fiery furnace. All right, so I'm gonna just jump around this episode. And just hit the points that we need to hit. Y'all already know how we do it over here. So near the start of the episode, Louis was just telling us like many of the ways that you could kill vampires, right? So he lists starvation. He says if they drink the blood of the dead, if I remember that correctly. Also decapitation and fire. So all of these things. Now, when he said all that shit, I'm like, yo, y'all can pick one or two things. Y'all could be, maybe even three. If y'all could pick a couple things to get Lestat annoying ass out of here, period, right? So now, because somebody was coming to their house, yet again, somebody else coming to their fucking house, right? So at this point, Lestat was like, yo, everybody know, or, honestly, like, I think everybody kind of agreed, like, we need to get the fuck out of here. There's a lot of people paying attention to us, more people than, I don't say more people than usual, but definitely the intensity of people's questions and concerns and just them thinking that Satan is living in this house. Like, they're like, we have to leave New Orleans. So, of course, this whole entire plan, Claudia has been planning to kill Lestat, right? So, in conjunction with that, Claudia is just like, how about we have this party? We have to, and then so Lestat just builds upon the idea for this party, saying that, well, we could starve ourselves for like 3 days, I guess. Just be so hungry by the time this party comes around, we will just, he said, what did he say? The hunger will be transcendent or something like that. So at this point, Claudia tells Louis that he needs to open his heart to Lestat. And of course, it's funny that Claudia even felt like she needed to say that shit because, ma'am, Louis' heart is still open to Lestat. Like, let's be clear about that. This man's heart is still open, even after all that shit, to Lestat. Right, so Claudia says we need a distraction. They needed 2 good distractions. Now, looking at the whole entire episode, they needed 2 good distractions, and it worked. Or it would have worked. Child, I'm getting ahead of myself. Either way, the party comes around, right? And of course, Lestat is in high drag. He starts his party out by chewing on his fake baby. Everybody's like, girl, why did we come? Why did we come to these crazy people's party, miss? So, and then of course you get this damn dance with Louis and Lestat. And at this point, I was still very pissed. Now, keep in mind, I understand the cycles of abuse and, the difficulties that certain victims can have leaving abusive situations. I understand it, but at the same time, I cannot lie. Louis pissed me off when he was over there in this fucking last dance. They were over here dressed up in all white, these fucking George Washington, Thomas Jefferson ass fucking wigs that they had on. Girl, I was like, y'all have to. And then Louis gonna talk about, oh, I wanted him dead, but I wanted him all to myself at the same time. It's like, oh, girl. That's why I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. That's why Claudia came up and bit his ass for a second. Like, girl, wake your ass up. So I don't know who this guy is. I'm sure I'm supposed to, but this guy came in there talking to Louis, just saying that their family was like a fag trio or something like that. And just, it was just really shady. And instead of acting out right there, Louis was just like, hey, would you like to know the secrets of immortality? Why don't you come, when the lights come down, when everybody leaves the club, why don't you come back to the back room and we'll show y'all something. We'll show y'all something. Okay, so here's the moment, because Louis gonna tell Claudia, oh, I can't do it no more. I don't know if I can do it. Let's start. And Claudia bites his ass, tells his ass to fucking wake your ass up. Now they're talking telepathically, and of course this is important. Just if you know what happens at the end of this episode, but they're talking telepathically. And Claudia says that she poisoned one of the twins. She already did it. Like, Lestat is going down tonight, honey. So, fast forward through all the party. Now we're at the table with all the future victims standing right here, baby. Just in a circle, ready to be eaten. So they go to drink. Essentially, this whole entire thing, because they're explaining some parts of it. They're being a little bit vague, like Claudia and Louis and Lestat. They're being a bit vague, but they're still giving some answers. Either way, they give their separate ages. I think Claudia said she's 36. Louis said he's 61, and Lestat said he's like 180 or something, or about to be 180. So yeah, the family's just acting like, if you want to call them a family, goddamn. But the family's just acting like, oh yeah, I drank of the waters, they're acting like they're about to drink something right now. And this guy, Tom, ends up saying, well, this shit is empty, like y'all brought us here for nothing, there's a hole in it. So yeah, he says it's empty, and Lestat says, well, not for long, and ends up chewing his ass out. And he was the first one. Tom Anderson was the first one that Lestat went for, and that obviously is important. It's obviously important. So Louis and Claudia offer Lestat one of the twins, right? So now is the moment where all the people got eaten up, or most of them got eaten up, and we have one of the twins left. And Lestat and Claudia are over here like, yeah, girl, Lestat. Not Lestat and Claudia, bitch. Louis and Claudia are over here like, hey, girl, Lestat, you want something to eat, baby? We got we got this twin over here just for you. And at this point, I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I guess I was not paying attention to what was going on. Oh no, it was a gag. It was supposed to be a gag. It was a finale. I was just like, this cannot be Claudia's plan. Like, I was like, no, this can't be the plan. Because Louis and fucking Claudia standing over there, just obvious as hell. Hey, why don't you come drink this? Why don't you come eat this twin up? I was like, this cannot be, bitch. If I'm seeing straight through this bullshit, like Lestat is going to beat y'all ass up. I was like, this cannot be the plan. This cannot be the plan. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, Lestat obviously is seeing through y'all bullshit. He knows that this person is poisoned or whatever. And I was like, yeah, y'all are about to get thrown around the room. And it was at this point that Antoinette comes in. She's the whole entire fucking vampire. So Lestat turns her ass. And it's been revealed here that she has been eavesdropping on their asses the whole entire time. Because she repeats the same telepathic conversation that Louis and Claudia were having with each other, trying to set up this whole entire thing. So I was like, oh, Lestat gonna fuck y'all up. And to me, I was really disappointed because I was like, Claudia seemed like she'd be way smarter than this. Like, she seemed like she'd be, especially if y'all gonna build up this whole chess game thing. I was like, Claudia seemed like she way smarter than this. What happened? Did something go wrong? I don't know. I knew I was gonna gag. I didn't expect for it to come in this way. It was only when Lestat started vomiting up that blood, baby. I was like, ooh, 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 ooh. I said, bitch, he done. I say, bitch, he done. I was inside and say, bitch, Lestat is throwing up blood, bro. Like, he's done. He's done. And then, you know, of course, Claudia comes out, stabs the shit out of Antoinette, and she starts doing her monologue. She starts bragging, baby. And I think one of the first sentences she said was just like, Lestat, you must have thought I was a dumbass. And I was just like, yo, Lestat was not the only one, Claudia. I was like, yo. I was like, sis, you're slipping. But she was just like, girl, we already knew. Antoinette had been, even from the time when Louis and Claudia were on that bench telepathically speaking about just running away on that train, Antoinette has been eavesdropping since then, so they used that against Lestat. So when you think about it, they had to hit him, and this is not how I expected it to go, because I was just like, in my head, I was envisioning more of a like physical like altercation, like a brawl. And you could say that, well, no, it was more of outsmarting. And I guess that was really the only way that you could really come for Lestat. Because I felt like if you're coming physically like a brawl, you want to fight Lestat, you're going to have to do it out of surprise. You're going to have to do it quickly and efficiently, right? But they did a good job. They really did. Claudia did a good job. You're distracting Lestat with his feelings for Louis. And Louis, of course, playing into that. You're also distracting Lestat by making him think that this random twin over here was the one who he should be worried about being poisoned, right? When he had already consumed Tom. Tom was the first person that he got to. And Claudia predicted that behavior based off of a previous interaction that Lestat had with Tom. Lestat is vengeful, and Claudia used that to put that nail in that coffin, I guess. But at the same time, as we can see, based off of what happens at the end of this episode, that nail needed to be fastened a little bit more because it wasn't doing nothing at the end of the day. Even though we saw that Louis ends up killing Lestat by slitting his throat, Claudia whips out her journal and starts writing Lestat's last words in his own blood, which were "put me in my coffin, Louis." Louis, while speaking to Daniel, ends up saying, "We just left him out with the trash," and that was it. And you know, even for as quickly as we saw them clean up the scene and then burn the bodies and shit, and then Lestat's body was just laying around there, Louis didn't even have to say the shit to Daniel for me to know. I was like, oh, Louis, you didn't actually kill LESTAT. Period. And Daniel picked up on that shit so quick. He was just like, Louis, you've been shot, you've been dropped from thousands of feet, you still survived that shit, you slit LESTAT's throat, and you really think, you expect me to believe that you believe that he was truly dead. Like, get the fuck out of my face. He says, where does the trash go, Louis? That's what Daniel says. And rats are running around in the dump, and so Daniel implies that LESTAT can just reach out of his coffin, or wherever the fuck you put him, grab these rats, and revitalize his spirit, and he's still out there, girl. I mean, we saw Louis get so defensive over LESTAT's dead ass body. Like, you cannot be serious, bro. We saw him get so defensive over LESTAT's dead, dying body that when Claudia said, "Hey, girl, the sun's coming up," like it's a lot of shit happening. We need to make sure that LESTAT is in this inferno. We need to make sure that he's in this furnace. Like, you can't be serious. We're gonna flame on his ass, bitch. Like, we need to make sure he's burnt up. He got so defensive that he ends up like almost choking Claudia ass out. And even Daniel says, you chose LESTAT over Claudia time and time again. So yeah, I mean, it's fucked up. LESTAT's fucked up, but also I think because of all the trauma swimming around, also all the trauma in Louis' brain, it's just now Claudia is in danger from your ass as well. Terrible. So now here was one of the other kickers, because Rashid is over here while Daniel and Louis are over here talking, I guess, or Daniel's just like dragging the shit out of Louis, essentially. I saw Rashid taking out his contacts in the back. I was like, oh girl, what's happening? I was like, what's happening? Rashid gonna start floating. I say, bitch, what's the tea, girl? what is the tea? Like, what's going on for real? Bitch, come to find out that I guess Rashid's real name is Armand or something like that. He ends up saying, as we age, the sun loses its power over us. They talk about what happened in San Francisco and like, oh, I'm not gonna save you from Louis again, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, at this point, we understand that Armand is 514 years of age. And if you think about it, when LESTAT said his age, it was like 180 or something. So this motherfucker's powerful as shit. Like, powerful. So now I'm wondering what Armand or whatever Rashid had to do with what has to do with the story. Did he help Louis defeat LESTAT in the very, very end? Because Louis keeps saying you only know half the story. That's what he said to Daniel. We only know half the story right now. You only know half the story. So it's like, I want to know how Armand fits into this picture, because they really saved that shit, that gag for last. Like, I had no idea. I was like, okay, why is this man constantly in this? Is he a butler? Like, what's the teeth? Like, you know, bitch, extremely powerful vampire. So now, what do y'all think? Is Louis in the same dynamic, that kind of a similar dynamic, like similar to the one that he was in when he was with LESTAT? Like, you have this really powerful vampire, even though, like I said, Armand seems like he would be way, way more powerful than LESTAT if LESTAT was only 180 at that time, you know. So how does he finish the story? Is Louis in the same kind of position that he was last time? Like, you just with somebody else who's more powerful, and is he domineering? I protect Louis from himself or whatever? I'm just like, I don't know. I want deliverance for Louis. I really do. I do. And maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe this is really Armand is really someone who saved Louis, or whatever. But with Louis, I don't know, with Louis' past behavior and the fact that I don't think he has really freed himself from some of the cyclical ways of thinking when it comes to like abuse and stuff. Like, I would not be surprised if he just jumped from one destructive dynamic to another, and it just so happens that Armand was the one to save him from LESTAT. You know, what happened to Claudia? I guess I need to watch the original movie. Y'all keep telling me to watch the original movie, but it's just like, I don't know if this is a good, like, I think this is a perfect way to end the season. It was just like, I was gagged by everything that happened. I loved it. I love how the fight between LESTAT and Claudia and Louis went down. I love the emotions that were involved in it. Like, even though Louis thought he wanted to, or knew that he should want to kill LESTAT, he just could not. So yeah, I just really want to know what happened with Claudia. There's so many pages ripped out of fucking Claudia's diary that Daniel's reading. I want to know what happened. I want to know what's going on. And I want to know how Armand fits into the story. If you have any ideas, please leave in the comments. Let me know what's up. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed this entire fucking show. It was great. It's great. It's great. Give me another season. Stop playing with me. I need to see news about it being renewed right now. Okay? But yeah, leave all your thoughts in the comments and I'll check y'all out later.